Have you ever asked yourself that question that haunts so many of us when life gets heavy? If everything is already written, what is the point of asking? It's a question that comes from a wounded heart, from someone who has spent nights begging for a change that just never seems to come. We're told the pen has been lifted and the ink is dried, so why do we keep pleading? To understand this, we have to look past the surface. Destiny isn't a cage designed to trap you. It's a sophisticated system created by the Most Merciful. It's not an excuse for hopelessness, it's the very framework that makes hope possible. In the Islamic tradition, destiny isn't a single, stagnant line. There are layers to it. There's the fixed decree, held in the ultimate knowledge of the divine, which nothing can surprise. But then, there is the conditional decree, a path that is explicitly linked to your actions, your choices, and most importantly, your dua. The Prophet, peace be upon him, dropped a truth that should shake your internal world to its core. Nothing repels destiny except dua. Think about that. It means that within the grand design, there are outcomes waiting to be unlocked, but the only key that fits the lock is your voice. Dua isn't just a list of demands. It's a powerful admission of your dependence. It's the moment you stop relying on your own limited strength and plug into the unlimited. So why the silence? Why the delay? This is where most people break. Te mistake are not yet for a no. They assume that if the situation hasn't shifted, their prayer wasn't heard. But delay is a deliberate strategy of the divine. A mother doesn't always give a child exactly what they want the second they scream for it. Not because she's indifferent, but because she's protective. If the answer came instantly, you might stop seeking the one who gives it. Sometimes, the delay is there to refine your character, to raise your rank, or simply because the divine loves the sound of your voice in the dark. Don't fall into the trap of thinking silence means absence. The prophets made dua for decades. They watched their hair turn white while waiting for a response. Yet they never once asked, what's the point? They understood that the act of asking itself was the greatest gift. It kept their hearts soft in a hard world. It kept them connected to the source. We have to ask ourselves, are we approaching the divine with humility, or are we treating prayer like a transaction? Are we asking for a change in our lives while refusing to change ourselves? Dua is a bridge, but you can T-cross it if you walking in the opposite direction of the truth. Destiny provides the balance our minds desperately need. When you succeed, it keeps you from the poison of arrogance, because you know it was written. When you fail, it protects you from the abyss of despair, because you know the divine allowed it with a wisdom you can't yet see. It's not a wall you crash into. It's a framework within which you grow. Once you stop viewing destiny as a locked door and start seeing it as a path with many turnstones that you influence through your sincerity, everything changes. You stop being a victim of fate and start becoming a collaborator in your own story. Thanks for watching. When we talk about the act of calling out to the divine, we aren't talking about a last resort. We aren't talking about a break glass in case of emergency. Backup plan that you only pull out when your back is against the wall and the world has turned its back on you. No. We are talking about the very heartbeat of a sovereign life. To understand the power of your voice in the dark, you have to realize that your request is a direct, unmonitored connection to the one who fashioned the galaxies, yet knows the exact rhythm of your pulse. He understands the ache in your chest before you even have the words to describe it. He hears the pain in your silence, even when you've lost the strength to speak. This is why we say that your call is the essence of worship, because it strips away the ego. It's the moment you stop pretending you're in total control and you admit, with absolute humility, that you are a limited being seeking the unlimited. In a modern world that obsesses over self-reliance and grind culture, where you're told that you are the sole architect of your fate, this realization is a radical act of rebellion. It's a vibe shift of the highest order. By raising your hands, you are declaring that you don't need the validation of people, the permission of systems, or the approval of the crowd. You are going straight to the source. And let me tell you, there are no barriers there. You don't need a specific language. You don't need a fancy title. And you certainly don't need to be perfect before you show up. You can be broken. You can be messy. You can be covered in the dust of your own mistakes. It doesn't matter. The divine loves the persistence of the one who keeps knocking on the door even when they feel unworthy to stand on the porch. He doesn't get tired of your repetition like humans do. In fact, In the spiritual realm, repetition is an annoyance, it's a sign of unwavering hope, and hope is a frequency that the divine responds to with legendary mercy. But let's get real about the struggle. Let's talk about that heavy, suffocating feeling when you've been asking for years and the situation hasn't moved an inch. You feel ignored. You feel like your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling. But you must understand that the delay is an elite form of training. Pain, when taken to the divine, is never wasted. It is transformed. It becomes a source of rank and purification. When you say, Ya Allah, you see what I am going through, and the situation stays the same. It's because the divine is changing you before he changes the circumstances. He is softening the hardness of your heart. He is strengthening the steel of your resolve, and he is preparing you for a level of success that the old you would not have been able to handle. Some doors stay shut because if they opened now, the weight of the blessing would crush you. He is waiting for the perfect moment of alignment. Think about the sheer generosity involved in this system. Sometimes you ask for a specific result, and he denies it. But only because he is protecting you from a calamity you can't even see on the horizon. You're crying over a closed door, while he is shielding you from the fire that was burning on the other side. Oter times. Oter times. He replaces your request with something so much greater that, years later, you look back and shudder at the thought of actually getting what you originally wanted. And then there are those requests that seem to vanish entirely. Those are the ones being banked in the divine treasury. On the day when every secret is revealed, you will see the rewards for those unanswered prayers. And you will wish that none of your prayers had been answered in this world, because the compensation in the eternal realm is so staggering. This waiting period is not passive. It is an active over an act of worship. It's about trust. It's about knowing that the silence of the divine is not a sign of his absence, but a sign of his deep, intricate involvement in your story. You are being positioned. You are being refined. You are being elevated. The only dangerous moment in your life is the moment you stop asking. Because the moment you stop, you've decided that you can do it better on your own end. That is the only true loss. So, keep whispering in the night. Keep shedding those tears. Keep showing up with your broken pieces. Because as long as you can still raise your hands, your story is not over. The response is already in motion, weaving through the fabric of destiny, moving toward you at the exact speed of divine wisdom. You are never alone, never forgotten, and never, ever ignored. This is the moment where the internal shift becomes an external reality. We have talked about the law of destiny, and we've explored the sanctuary of the silent prayer, but now we must face the ultimate truth. The connection between your soul and the divine is the only thing in this universe that can truly rewrite the ending of your story. Many people walk through life as if they are ghosts in their own lives, passive, defeated, and convinced that every hardship is a permanent wall. But for the one who understands the true power of their voice, there are no permanent walls, only doors that haven't been opened yet. You have been given a tool so powerful, so ancient, and so sacred that it can literally affect the fabric of what was meant to happen to you. That tool is your sincerity. You see, the divine strategy is far more complex than our human minds can grasp. We often look at our lives through a tiny keyhole, seeing only the immediate pain or the current obstacle. But the one who fashioned you is looking at the entire tapestry. He has connected certain outcomes to certain actions. And the greatest of these actions is the moment you turn to him with a heart that is completely emptied of pride. The prophet, peace be upon him, taught us that your plea has the ability to repel harm and bring forth benefits that were otherwise blocked. This means that there are challenges written to occur in your path. But the divine has also written that if you call out, those challenges will be lifted or transformed. You aren't fighting destiny. You are engaging with it in the exact way you were commanded to. You are stepping into the arena of your own life and claiming the mercy that has been waiting for you all along. Look at the history of the world's most resilient souls of prophets and the giants of faith. They faced situations that were, by every human standard, completely impossible. They faced seas that wouldn't part, fires that wouldn't cool, and giants that wouldn't fall. But they understood a secret that the modern world has forgotten. The moment you involve the divine, the impossible ceases to exist. They didn't just ask for ease. They asked for a total shift in reality, and because their sincerity was absolute, the circumstances shifted. Relief came from places they never could have mapped out. Doors opened in solid walls. This wasn't luck. This wasn't coincidence. This was the response to a frequency of faith that the universe is legally bound to answer. But let's be clear about what this response looks like. We often get frustrated because we are looking for a specific result, a specific person, a specific amount of money, a specific job. But the divine is looking at your growth. You might be asking for a weight to be removed, but he is giving you the strength to carry it, knowing that the strength will serve you for the next 50 years while the ease would only last for a day. You might be begging for a path to stay open, but he is closing it because he knows it leads to a cliff you can see yet. This isn't a failure of your prayer. It is the perfection of his protection. The danger isn't that your request isn't heard. The danger is that you stop asking before the miracle is fully cooked. Some people give up at the very moment the tide is turning. They walk away from the door just as the lock is clicking open. Don't be that person. Persistence is the hallmark of the sovereign. There is no situation in your life that is final as long as you can still raise your hands. A medical diagnosis is not the end of the story. A broken relationship is not the end of the story. A financial collapse or a massive mistake from your past does not define the final chapter. As long as there is breath in your lungs and a whisper in your heart, there is room for a turnaround. This hope isn't just a feel-good emotion. It is a spiritual weapon. It keeps you moving forward when everyone else has sat down. It keeps you sharp when the world tries to dull your edge. You are a living testimony that what was meant to break you was actually sent to build you. On the day when all secrets are laid bare, you will see the invisible architecture of your life. You will see the calamities that were diverted because of a single, tearful request you made in the middle of the night. You will see the sins that were wiped away because of a moment of brokenness. You will see the ranks you attained not through your work, but through your patience in the waiting room of the divine. You will realize that the silence you feared was actually the sound of the divine rearranging the stars in your favor. So, stand tall. Hold your head high and your heart higher. You are protected. You are seen. You are deeply, profoundly loved by the one who has no limits. Never apologize for the depth of your need, and never stop knocking on the door of the most generous, because through your voice, hearts are mended. Through your faith, lives are guided. And through your persistence, destinies are illuminated. The weight is lifting. The shift is happening. Your story is being rewritten by the hand of mercy itself. Have you ever felt like you're searching for something more? A deeper sense of peace that the everyday world just can't seem to offer? It's a common feeling. This quiet yearning for connection, for something beyond the noise and the rush. Many of us look for this peace in our careers, our relationships, or our hobbies. And while those things are wonderful, the most profound peace often comes from a journey within, a journey toward the divine. This path of internal transformation isn't about becoming a totally different person overnight. It's about slowly, gently, peeling back the layers of stress, anxiety, and expectation that have built up over the years. It's about rediscovering the true you that's been waiting underneath it all. Think of it like a cluttered room. For years, you've just been tossing things in, and now it's hard to move around or find anything. The process of connecting with the divine is like deciding to finally open the windows, let the light in, and begin to sort through the clutter, one item at a time. It's not about throwing everything out, but about deciding what truly matters and what you can let go of. So, how do you start this decluttering of the soul? It often begins with simple moments of stillness. Maybe it's 5 minutes of quiet meditation in the morning, focusing on your breath and letting your thoughts drift by without judgment. Or perhaps it's a walk in nature, where you pay attention to the rustle of leaves, the warmth of the sun, and the vastness of the sky. In these quiet moments, we create a space to listen. It's in this quiet space that we can start to hear that still, small voice inside the one that whispers guidance, comfort, and love. This is where the conversation with the divine truly begins. It's not always a booming voice from the heavens. More often, it's a feeling of rightness, a sudden insight, a sense of being held and understood. It's the strength you find when you thought you had none left. This connection grows with practice. Just like any relationship, you nurture it through prayer, reflection, or acts of kindness and gratitude. As you do, you'll start to notice a shift. The little things that used to cause so much stress might start to feel less significant. You'll find yourself responding to challenges with more calm and less reactivity. This is the peace that comes from knowing you are part of something much larger than yourself, that you are unconditionally loved and supported. This journey of internal transformation is deeply personal. Your path will look different from anyone else's, and that's exactly how it should be. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The only requirement is an open heart and a willingness to look inward. Finding peace with the divine isn't about escaping the world. It's about learning to live in it more fully, with a heart full of grace, compassion, and unshakable inner peace. It's about realizing that the home you've been searching for has been inside you all along. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me today. If this message resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe and join our community as we explore more paths to inner peace and connection. Take care, and see you soon. Have you ever felt like you're just a background character in someone else's story? Like life is just happening to you, and you have no control? I know that feeling all too well. For years, I walked around with this heavy sense of believing I was at the mercy of fate, of other people's decisions, of circumstances that were just too big for me to handle. My life felt like a chaotic, messy draft of a story I didn't even want to read, let alone live. I'd look in the mirror and see someone lost, adrift on a stormy sea, with no land in sight. Every setback felt like a personal attack, every challenge an insurmountable wall. I'd ask myself, why me? What did I do to deserve this? It was a lonely and powerless place to be. A constant state of reacting instead of creating. But what if I told you that this feeling, this entire perspective, is based on a misunderstanding? What if you aren't just a victim of circumstance, but the masterpiece of a divine creator? This shift in perspective changed everything for me, and I want to share how it can change everything for you. It's not about ignoring the pain or the struggles. It's about understanding their purpose in the grander design of your life. The first step on this journey was realizing that I was looking at my life through a very narrow lens. Imagine standing so close to a massive, intricate painting that all you can see are individual, seemingly random brushstrokes. You see a dark splotch here, a jagged line there. From that vantage point, it's easy to conclude that the painting is a mess. It looks chaotic, unplanned, maybe even ugly. That's how I was viewing my life. I was hyper-focused on the immediate struggles, the painful moments, the disappointments. Each one was just an ugly splotch of paint, and I couldn't see how it could possibly fit into anything beautiful. The spiritual journey begins when we take a step back, when we start to trust that there is a painter, a divine artist, who sees the whole canvas. This artist, this creator, God, the universe, whatever name resonates with you, isn't just throwing paint randomly. Every single stroke, every color, every shadow, and every light is intentional. The dark splotch that felt so painful up close. From a distance, you realize it's the shadow that gives depth and dimension to a beautiful object. The jagged line that seems so harsh, it forms the edge of a magnificent mountain peak. This is the essence of faith. It's the willingness to believe in the whole picture, even when you can only see a confusing corner of it. It's trusting that the artist knows exactly what they're doing. When I started to embrace this idea, something incredible happened. The question, why is this happening to me, transformed into, what is this trying to teach me? How is this shaping me into the person I am meant to become? Suddenly, challenges were no longer just obstacles. They were opportunities for growth. They were the chisel and hammer of the divine sculptor, chipping away everything that wasn't me, revealing the masterpiece within. Think about the stories of the most inspiring people you know, both in history and in your own life. Do they have easy, flawless stories? Rarely. More often, their stories are filled with immense challenges, heartbreaking losses, and moments where they could have given up, but they didn't. These experiences didn't break them. They forged them. The pressure they endured turned them into diamonds. Their pain became their power. Their scars told a story of survival and resilience. This is the divine masterpiece at work. The difficult parts of our lives are not mistakes in the design. They are essential elements that create contrast, texture, and profound beauty. So, how do we actively participate in this co-creation? How do we move from being a passive victim to an empowered partner with the divine? It starts with connection. Just as a plant needs to stay connected to its roots to receive nourishment, we need to stay connected to our spiritual source. For me, this connection comes through prayer, meditation, and spending time in nature. It is in these quiet moments that I can silence the noise of the world and the voice of my own fear and ego. It's where I can listen for that still, small voice of guidance, the whisper of the Creator. Prayer isn't about begging a distant deity to fix your problems. For me, it has become a conversation. It's a space to pour out my heart, my fears, my gratitude, and my hopes. It's not a one-way street. The more I talk to the Creator, the more I start to notice the answers. They don't come in a booming voice from the clouds. They come in the form of a gut feeling, a sudden insight, an unexpected opportunity, a kind word from a friend, or a passage in a book that seems written just for me. These are the nudges from the divine artist, guiding my hand as I co-create my life. Meditation is another powerful tool. Our minds are constantly racing, replaying the past and worrying about the future. This mental chatter is the static that blocks the divine frequency. Meditation is like tuning the radio. It helps us quiet the static so we can hear the music. It allows us to detach from the chaotic thoughts and emotions and just be present. In that presence, we can feel our connection to something much larger than ourselves. We can feel the peace that comes from knowing we are held, guided, and loved unconditionally. And then there's nature. Have you ever stood at the edge of the ocean, watched a sunset paint the sky, or walked through a silent forest? In those moments, it's almost impossible not to feel a sense of awe and wonder. Nature is the Creator's art gallery, a constant reminder of the incredible beauty, complexity, and intelligence that underlies all of existence. When I feel small and lost, a walk in the woods reminds me that I am part of this magnificent, interconnected web of life. I am just as much a miracle as the tallest tree or the smallest flower. As I began to practice these things, my perspective on my past started to shift. The painful breakup that left me shattered. I now see it was the event that forced me to learn how to love myself and become truly independent. The job I lost that felt like the end of the world. It pushed me to discover my true passion and start a career that actually fulfills me. The period of profound loneliness, it taught me the value of deep, authentic connection and led me to the most meaningful friendships of my life. From this new vantage point, I can see the threads of grace woven through my entire story. I can see how the artist used dark threads to make the bright ones shine even more brilliantly. Nothing was wasted. Every tear, every struggle, every moment of despair was a necessary part of the composition. It doesn't mean those moments weren't painful. They were. But now, I can hold that pain with a sense of gratitude, knowing what it produced in me. This journey from victim to masterpiece is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice. There are still days when I stand too close to the canvas, days when a new challenge arises and my old victim mentality tries to creep back in. I'll hear that old voice whispering, "See, life is on fire. You're powerless." But now, I have a new response. I can take a deep breath, consciously take a step back, and remind myself of the bigger picture. I can say, I trust the artist. I trust the process. This is part of my masterpiece. Empowerment doesn't mean you will never face hardship again. It means you understand that you have the divine strength within you to face it. You are not a fragile, helpless thing tossed about by the waves. You are the ship, built by the master craftsman, designed to navigate any storm. The waves may crash against you, the winds may howl, but you have an anchor of faith and a compass of divine guidance. Your life, right now, with all its seeming imperfections, its unresolved plot, and its painful chapters, is a divine masterpiece in progress. Every single experience you've had has been a brushstroke. The joy, the pain, the love, the losses, all part of the palette. You are not a mistake. You are not flawed. You are a unique and unrepeatable expression of the Creator. I invite you to try this. The next time you face a challenge or feel overwhelmed by your circumstances, pause. Take a step back from the canvas, close your eyes, and connect with that divine spark within you. Ask, what is the gift in this? How is this serving my growth? How is this adding depth and beauty to my masterpiece? Hand over your fear and your need for control, and simply trust the artist. Trust that you are being guided, that you are loved, and that your life is unfolding in perfect, divine order. You are not a victim. You are a living, breathing work of art, a masterpiece of God. Start seeing yourself that way, and watch how your world transforms. The beauty has been there all along. It's just a matter of changing your perspective to see it. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. If this message resonated with you, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments. How do you see the masterpiece in your own life? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content on living an empowered and spiritually connected life. Until next time, remember to trust the artist. We've reached the summit. We've traveled through the valleys of doubt, the storms of delay, and the fires of transformation. But now, as we stand at the end of this journey, it is time to issue the final decree. You see, the most profound secret of the spiritual path is that the divine doesn't just want you to ask. He wants you to know. He wants you to move from the frequency of hoping to the frequency of certainty. This is the state where you no longer pray out of desperation, but out of absolute conviction. It is the moment you realize that the one who inspired the prayer in your heart is the very same one who has already prepared the answer. He wouldn't have made you thirsty if he hadn't already created the water. He wouldn't have made you knock if the door wasn't already designed to open. This is where your life takes on a new dimension of power. You stop being a person who is merely surviving the days, and you become a person who is commanding their reality through the permission of the Almighty. You walk into rooms with a quiet authority because you know you are never walking alone. You handle setbacks with a sovereign smile, because you know they are just the setup for a greater breakthrough. You have finally escaped the prison of your own head and entered the sanctuary of the divine presence. The noise of the world, the opinions of critics, the fears of the mass, and the distractions of the mundane no longer has the power to pull you out of your peace. You are anchored in the unshakable. Think about the legacy you are building right now. Your persistence isn't just changing your life, it is changing the lives of those who come after you. You are breaking cycles of despair. You are rewriting the genetic code of your family's future. You are showing everyone who witnesses your life that the divine is real, that he is near, and that he is capable of doing the impossible. You have become a living bridge between the seen and the unseen. While others are looking for miracles in the external world, you have become the miracle. Your healing is a miracle. Your resilience is a miracle. Your unshakable hope is a miracle. And as you walk in this light, you are illuminating the path for every lost soul who sees you. As we close this chapter, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you will never again settle for a small life. Promise that you will never again allow a no from the world to make you forget the yes from the divine. You are the sovereign of your own soul, backed by the power that ignited the first sun. The weight is gone. The chains are broken. The veil is lifted. You are not just a traveler in time. You are an eternal being experiencing a human journey, and your destination is glory. The ink is dry on the victory of the believer. The victory was written before you even began to ask, but it was your asking that made it yours. The story of your struggle is officially over, and the story of your triumph has begun. Go forth and live with the courage of a warrior and the heart of a saint. Your voice has reached the heavens, and the heavens have responded with a mercy that has no end. This is your life. This is your destiny. This is your moment. You are protected, you are elevated, and you are finally home. Thanks for watching. Your time is coming. Keep believing. Keep fighting. Don't just watch. Go out and prove them wrong. Thank you for being part of the journey. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.